Hey folks, your boy from Philly back with another breakfast recipe. You can eat pan-fried potatoes for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, but since my family always made them for breakfast, you're going to find this recipe on my website in the breakfast section. Alright? Here we have some Idaho russets. Those are the potatoes that you're going to need for this recipe, and you're going to need an onion, and I'm going to be adding a lot of onions to my pan-fried potatoes. It ain't nothing without a lot of onions. It ain't nothing, I said, nothing. You gotta have a lot of onions when you making pan-fried potatoes. You just gotta have the onions, and you gotta have a lot of them. Alright, so make sure you have onions and obviously potatoes, but there's a particular kind I want you to get, and those are Idaho russet potatoes. Now here are the seasonings we're going to be putting in our pan-fried potatoes. We're going to be using black pepper. You got to have that black pepper. We're going to be using some garlic powder. You're going to need some seasoning salt. Now if you don't have seasoning salt, you can use a combination of regular salt and paprika, because that's really all seasoning salt is salt and paprika. Alright? And you're going to need some sugar. Yes, I said sugar, because we're making the best. I said the best pan-fried potatoes in the whole wide world. Don't nobody make pan-fried potatoes like Philly Boy J. Nobody. Don't nobody do it quite like him. Listen, you got to add that sugar. The sugar is going to give it something special. For all my real cooks out there that have been cooking for years, you know why you add that sugar. It just really enhances the flavor. And without it, I don't even make pan-fried potatoes. If I don't have the sugar, I'm not making them. Because the sugar gives it that umph. It put that umph in it. They just give it something special. And that's why these are the world's best pan-fried potatoes. Listen, I will pay you to find somebody that make it as good as me, and you're not going to find them, because ain't nobody out there making them as good as me. Nobody making no pan-fried potatoes like Philly Boy J. They're just not. They're not. Point blank, period. You guys are going to try this recipe, and you are going to love it, and you're going to thank me that I showed you how to make pan-fried potatoes my way. So make sure you have all those seasonings. Sugar, pepper, garlic powder, and seasoning salt. Here's one thing that I want to say about the oil that you're using. We're going to be using vegetable oil, but my folks, when they made pan-fried potatoes, they would always use old, or you can call it used oil that they previously used to fry chicken or pork chops or whatever. My mom used to always save her oil. My mom and my grandma actually always save their oil. That's old school, because it gives whatever you're cooking the oil with more flavor. Okay, so I'm going to be using this vegetable oil because I don't have any more old oil. But if you have some old oil that you already use for chicken or pork chops, not for fish, but for chicken or pork chops, use that old oil. Alright? We're going to get a pot. We're going to fill it up with water and place it over high heat. And we're going to add the potatoes once it comes to a boil. Alright guys, so the water has come to a boil, so I'm going to add my potatoes, and we're going to let them cook. So they are a little tender, right? You don't want to cook them too long, so make sure that you follow the cooking time to a T on my website, alright? Because if you let them cook until they're too tender, they're going to be mashed potatoes, and we don't want them to be super tender. Alright? Okay guys, so you're going to stick a fork or knife into your potato like this. And if it sticks through rather easily and it slides off the knife or fork, that means that it's fork or knife tender, and you're going to cut the fire off. Drain the water. Place your potatoes in like a big bowl or something and sit it in the freezer until the potatoes cool off. Okay guys, so while our potatoes are cooling off in the freezer, what we're going to do is peel and slice our onion. And like I said, I like to use as much onions as possible. I think that really gives this dish its taste and make it what it is. I cut my onions differently depending on what I'm making, as you guys have seen. By the way, what you can do instead of placing your potatoes in the freezer is you can just empty out that hot water from the pot and just fill it up with some cool water. You can add some ice if you want. You don't have to. But I like to slice my onions this way. Kind of downward, the way I slice my potatoes. Okay, then what I do is I slice them like this a couple times. Like that there. And that's pretty much it. Just like that. So because we boiled the potatoes, it should be rather easy to remove the skin because the skin is soft, so we don't need a potato peeler to remove the skin. And I just remove it with a knife. Like this. So press and peel. Okay guys, so now what we're going to do is we're going to slice our potatoes, and this is the way we're going to slice them, like this. Okay, and this is the reason why we don't want to over cook our potatoes and boil them for long, because if they're too tender, you're not going to be able to cut them into shapes like this because they'll just fall completely apart. Okay, so I'm gonna slice them up and I'll get back to you when I'm done. By the way, these are pan fried potatoes. It's not the same as smothered potatoes because the way that you cook smothered potatoes is slightly different. What they do is they peel the skin off the potatoes first, slice them into shapes sort of like this, place them in a pan with onions and water, and they get them tender that way. And then as the water cooked down, some people will add a little bit of oil to kind of fry them. But the reason I don't like to make those kind of potatoes because I don't like the texture and I don't like the gravy that it kind of creates. So that's why I prefer pan fried potatoes over smothered potatoes. And those are our sliced potatoes. Let's move over to the stove now. Okay guys, so get your pan and you're going to place it over high heat. Yes, high heat. You're going to add your oil. Soon after, you're going to add your onions. You're going to let them cook for about 45 seconds to a minute. Then you're going to add your potatoes. We are going to begin adding our seasonings. I'm going to start off by adding my sugar. The sugar first. I'm going to now add our seasoning salt. Going to add our garlic powder. And last but not least, our black pepper. And here's what I do. I just turn them over. I never really like stir them. I just turn them like that. And just like turn them. And I always end up having to add more oil as well. I want to make sure they fry well. Okay, so I'm going to let these cook and I'll get back with you guys when they're almost done. Alright guys, so I'm going to flip them over one last time. And this is what you continue to do as they're cooking. You just keep flipping them over. You don't want to stir them though. You just want to flip them over. Like this. Look at those bad boys. Look amazing. He's gonna be super good. And guys, these bad boys are done. All right, and don't mind that some are a little crispy and burnt because they're not pan fried potatoes unless they're a little burnt on the edges. All right, that's the way you want them to be. Okay, so we're going to get ready to plate these bad boys. I'm about to grub. I'm hungry, and these are looking absolutely delicious. So I'm about to dig into these. So let's plate them now. And here is our pan fried potatoes. They look amazing. These things are delicious, and like I said, make sure that you follow the recipe to a T. These are the world's best pan fried potatoes. And if you want to taste the world's best pan fried potatoes, you got to follow the recipe. Can't do your own thing now. You got to follow the recipe. I want you guys to comment below. Tell me how you like them. I know that you're going to love them because they are amazing. I only make these for breakfast on Saturdays, guys. Only on Saturdays. And it's really good with some fried fish and some scrambled eggs. Okay. There you go. Hope you guys enjoy. Later.